Hello guys, my name is Luiz Brüggemann. I'm from Brazil. I'm 34 years old and I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I already had two psychoses. It's bipolar type 1, the type that you may have psychosis. And I suffered a lot in this lifetime. I already had 3 hospitalizations. Um, One hospitalization, I had a psychosis, the first hospitalization. The second was because I had suicidal ideations. And the third was because I had another psychosis. And I wanted to tell you my story here. I wanted to tell you my story, my journey with bipolar disorder. Actually, I was first diagnosed as schizophrenic. It was 10 years ago. It was 10 years ago that I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. That was a misdiagnosis, and I followed protocols, treatment protocol for schizophrenia then, and due to that, maybe I had the negative symptoms, very similar to negative symptoms. That is alogia. I can't talk. I cannot talk with too many words. I couldn't do that. For example, I could just say things like yeah, huh, when I had conversations with other people. They weren't too many, there weren't too many complex conversations with other people. Nowadays, I don't have negative symptoms anymore. I don't know why. Maybe that's because my medicines changed. I think when I changed medicines, maybe the chemistry of my brain changed as well, and then the negative symptoms disappeared. So now I can talk to people. I don't have avolition anymore. I I have more. Avolition is when you don't want to do many things. I remember that I stayed in my bedroom the whole day. I stayed in my bedroom and had a lot of social isolation. I wanted to talk to anyone, neither my family members, neither my family, my relatives. And that was quite difficult because I had no social life, and I felt quite isolated. And I think that's why I had the suicidal ideations afterwards. And so that was a lot of suffering due to the negative symptoms. And I had I speak, my first tongue is Brazilian Portuguese. So then I remember some words in Brazilian Portuguese that I can't translate to English, but I'm doing my best here. So I had uh, cognitive symptoms. For example, I couldn't read a whole book to, or I couldn't focus on long texts. That was quite difficult. But the most painful things was avolition. I felt that I had to. It was as if I had to walk with a heavy bag full of stones on my back. Every day was like that. And every day was like that, like carrying a bag, uh, have backpack full of stones on my back. And the allogia and social isolation they were most uh, the most dreadful things from these negative symptoms. And then in 2018, that was 7 years ago, my diagnosis changed to schizoaffective disorder. Schizoaffective disorder, we may call it as a mix of bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. But the diagnosis again was wrong. And well, at first I had my second hospitalization due to suicidal ideations. I admit that before I had my first hospitalization, I never thought about finishing my life, about killing myself. Never thought about it. But after the hospitalizations, after the schizophrenia diagnosis, I had such thoughts. And what I did was to seek help. We should seek help, and the right help. Maybe some health professional that will listen to you. Sometimes there are mental health professionals that they will not necessarily listen to you, so you need to choose the right ones. I think so. So yeah, I had the suicidal ideations in 2016. It was 9 to 8 years ago. And but it was a hospitalization of just 10 days. It was quite quick. It wasn't too scary. The first hospitalization was really scary. I I hate I hate hospitals actually, but I don't know. I hate hospitals actually, but they heal people there. It's confusing for me sometimes. And my third hospitalization was 5 years ago, and I was diagnosed as bipolar then. And when being diagnosed with bipolar, I took the right medications, I had the real right treatment that was working for me. And now I took the right medicines that that make my brain works much better and make my mood uh, not to have too much swings. So it's much better for me right now. And I like it. I like it um, when we call it diagnosis, right? Because we call it a diagnosis, but I'm a much more than a diagnosis actually. But I love it when we can have some direction of what we about the condition that we have. When you have a better direction, and we feel we don't feel too lost in our journey of mental health. So yeah, I had the third hospitalization, and yeah, I suffered a lot again. I think hospitalizations has a lot of abuse. Even, I live in Brazil, in south of Brazil, and despite it's a good place with yeah, we can say I have a good health care here, but it's still, I think it's still not enough. We can be much better. We can be much better. Yeah, I'm grateful for people who help me, but we still need to be more sensitive towards mentally ill people. It's not just about we need to at least to validate their feelings, because mentally ill people, they generally had many traumas. And we have to validate their feelings. So yeah, we need to validate feelings of people who are mentally ill, because many times we think that, oh, I think I understand what that person passed through, but sometimes we need to, how can I say, lower our energy and try to not just understand that feeling, but we need to validate. For example, it's like saying, I'm sorry for you. I'm not just I'm sorry for you. I mean, I'm sorry for what you feel. If I was in your place, maybe I would be sad. Maybe I would be crying. I don't know. Uh, I mean, we need to be more empathetic, um, because it's quite difficult to, when you pour your emotions. I'm saying it as a mentally ill person. When we are pouring our emotions, we expect that we will be validated, because we live it a lot, we live our emotions a lot, and then we receive a lot of invalidation, because we can understand that this world doesn't work in a way that we are truly connected with ourselves. We understand many times, we as mentally ill people, we understand the suffering, the how is to be in hell. And because we are in hell, sometimes we don't want someone to say to us, oh, you're in hell, just climb up, just climb up. That's the most logical thing to say to someone who is in hell. Just climb up. Oh, you just have to eat well. You just have to do physical exercise. You just have to I don't know. You just have to sleep well. You just have to meditate. These are things that we do know. We already know. Of course, we have to do it. Of course, we need to take care of our body, of our mind, of our health. Of course, we have to do it. I don't mean. I mean, if you say that to someone who is mentally ill, you're trying to be nice. You're trying to be a good person. It's okay, but I think that's very important, to validate feelings, to recognize the feelings. If someone says, is trying to vent, or saying, I'm sad, I'm depressed, or I'm 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 feeling sad, for example, uh, you shouldn't give tips right away. You should listen. Use your ears. Use your ears. Listen to this person, and then say, maybe you can say that you are sorry. Maybe you can ask her if she wants advice before giving any advice to her. It's a good idea, because sometimes we don't want advice. And that's not just for mentally ill people, That's for everybody. Sometimes we don't want a device, pieces of advice. We just want to be listened. And that's one thing that I find very important for people who are mentally ill. We just need you to listen to us. If you want to help us, you don't need to help us as well. And if you are mentally ill, just understand. Please understand, you're quite important for this world. You're quite important for yourself and for us. If you are there and you're breathing and you care about yourself, you are important. You have a unique story, you have a unique experience that you can also share to the world. And you will probably discover that many people, I mean that many people want to hear to your story, want to hear your story. They want it. I'm quite sure, because there are many people who, for example, they know someone who suffered like you, or they themselves suffered like you. Then they want to hear your story. Tell your story if you want it, or tell it to people who you care. Or I don't know, just understand that you're quite unique and your experience is very important. I think that's enough for you to understand that you are important. Okay? So that's it for today. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you have a great and wonderful day. And thank you again. A big hug from Brazil. And goodbye.